Wow, the house is pretty fucked. It looks like the door is gonna cave in.
Hello friends, you're on the Last Days channel. Thank you so much for your engagement and support. And so, a review of events for December 14th and 15th. Africa. Nearly 50 million people are at risk of hunger in West and Central Africa, according to the United Nations. It estimates that as early as 2024, the number of people facing severe hunger in the continent's coastal countries will increase by 16% to more than 6 million. The cause is armed conflict, climate change, and high food prices. There is not enough funding to solve the problem, so people are surviving as best they can. Many are forced to cut back on meals and eat less nutritious foods. Now more than 60% of families in the region simply cannot afford healthy food. The cost of a full daily meal in the Central Sahel, which includes countries such as Mali, Burkina Faso and Niger, exceeds the daily minimum wage by 110%. Experts believe that if the world community does not intervene and help, the situation in certain areas will only worsen. Gran Mariscal de Ayacucho, Venezuela. On the highway Gran Mariscal de Ayacucho near Caracas, there was a terrible accident. At least 18 people were killed, 14 others were injured. The cause was the failure of brakes on the truck, which was unable to stop and crashed into several cars. As a result, the truck exploded and a large fire broke out. Social media video shows flames bursting out of the cars involved in the accident, and victims can be heard screaming. Authorities reported damage to at least 17 cars. The fire was able to be extinguished several hours later. Police have launched an investigation into the causes of the accident. Germany. In the south of Germany, Cyclone Vanya has turned into heavy rains, rising water levels in rivers and flooding. Citing local forecasters, the TASS news agency reports that after the entire south of the Federal Republic of Germany was literally paralyzed by heavy snowfalls in early December, heavy rains are now falling. And the rains and snow melt are causing rivers to overflow. In some regions, the German Meteorological Service declared a red level of weather danger. Thus, in the southern Black Forest and along the Alps there are heavy rains. In Allgäu for a day fell up to 60 liters of precipitation per square meter. In some areas this figure can reach 140 liters. Due to the rising river levels, the situation is particularly difficult in Bavaria, as well as on the Rhine from Baden-Württemberg to North Rhine-Westphalia. Forecasters do not rule out the possibility of a flood warning level 3 south of the Danube. Here, individual plots, houses and roads may be flooded. In the north of the Danube, the water level is falling. In the Rhine, on the contrary, it is rising. Shipping has been suspended in Karlsruhe. Coastal towns have introduced protective measures. China. Outbreaks of mycoplasma infection have been reported in China. Deaths from the new contagion exceed the mortality rate of COVID-19. At the moment, there are no vaccines and immunoglobulins for this disease. In China, every day hospitalize almost 7,000 people because of the outbreak of an unknown virus. The peculiarity of the epidemic is the rapid infection of children aged 5 to 12 years. Cases of infection are also recorded in Europe, Denmark, France, the Netherlands, Germany, and Russia. The infection affects various body systems, leading to fatal outcome without proper treatment. Symptoms of mycoplasma infection include prolonged cough, fever, and runny nose. Antimicrobial therapy is used for treatment. Methods to prevent the spread of the disease include ventilating rooms, using sanitary filters, isolating coughing people, distancing oneself, and proper use of medical masks. Authorities have officially recognized the SARS outbreak, but it is not yet known exactly what the children are sick with. There are three main theories. It may be due to prolonged quarantine, which has weakened children's immunity, or there is a new strain of coronavirus targeting younger ages, or the cause is a mycoplasma infection that has become resistant to antibiotics. This is causing serious concern among the medical community. Rostov-on-Don, Russia. In several cities and districts of the Rostov region there was an icy rain, which led to the formation of a thick, icy crust on the roads and sidewalks. In addition, strong wind gusts are recorded in the region. Also in the region without electricity remain about 150,000 people. In cultural and sports institutions of Rostov-on-Don canceled classes. Communal services are working in full mode, roads and sidewalks are being cleared and treated with reagents. Emergency crews are working to restore power supply. The authorities ask residents to be careful, especially the elderly, and not to go out on the street without an urgent need.
Петь, как дела? Нормально?
Да.
Я же говорил.
Это жестко было.
France. French authorities have declared an orange danger code due to heavy rains and flooding that are in effect in several regions of the country. Météo France has issued a warning in force for several departments: Gironde, Corse, Dordogne, Deux-Sèvres, Charente, Haute-Savoie, and Northern Alps. According to experts, the meteorological warning will remain in effect until Thursday, December 14th. Moscow, Russia. Powerful cyclone Vanya has hit Moscow, causing a record snowfall, which has not been observed for more than 50 years. The capital was covered with snow overnight, exceeding 5% of the monthly norm of precipitation. In the Moscow region fell up to 33% of the entire climatic norm of December. The height of snowdrifts reached 50 centimeters, which is 2.5 times more than usual. Cleaning equipment has taken to the streets, but DepTrans warns of possible 9-point traffic jams by evening. Forecasters predict that the snowfall will last another 24 hours, with winds reaching 17 meters per second. The difficult road conditions have already led to many traffic accidents. Motorists are urged to use public transportation. Other regions of Russia, especially Bryansk, Lipetsk, Oral and Voronezh regions, as well as Kursk region, are also experiencing heavy precipitation. Argentina.
Locura eso, por Dios.
A strong storm swept across Argentina, leaving destruction and unrest in its wake. Heavy rains and hurricane-force winds severely damaged the towns of Monte Caseros in Corrientes Province and Villaguay in Entre Rios Province. However, the center of the country took the biggest hit, with the provinces of Santa Fe, Cordoba, and Neuquén hardest hit by heavy rains and hurricane-force winds. Roads in these areas were washed out and many streets were flooded. Provincial authorities have already taken measures to help the victims, and emergency committees have begun work to coordinate disaster response. Residents of the most affected regions are asked not to leave their homes unless absolutely necessary. A strong sandstorm passed through the province of San Luis in Argentina today. The storm was so powerful that it broke the wires of electric poles, which led to blackouts. A large number of structures, buildings, and facilities were also damaged. People's property was also damaged. Farms in the region were particularly damaged. Mexico City, Mexico. Three earthquakes were recorded in the capital of Mexico, Mexico City. On December 12, there was an earthquake with a magnitude of 3 points. Local residents claim that there were no warnings about possible earth tremors. Everything started suddenly. The first earthquake on December 12 was magnitude 3, followed by two more with magnitudes of 2.8 and 2.4 respectively. Dozens of houses were damaged, cracks in the walls, collapsed ceilings. Residents whose homes were damaged were evacuated. There is no information about fatalities yet, but the fears of the emergency services were confirmed on December 14 about the repeated earthquake, which was a magnitude of 5 points. Rescuers are currently inspecting the damaged buildings, and emergency services are working. Gaza, Palestine. After heavy rains flooded the refugee camps from the Gaza Strip. As a result of flooding, tents are standing in the water, mud everywhere, and Palestinians, as much as they can, are trying to build channels to divert floodwaters. Locals say that mattresses and other belongings are soaked, diseases are spreading in the camp, and garbage is piling up. People who have been forced to leave their homes receive almost no help. It resembles a humanitarian catastrophe. Parents say that children cannot sleep at night and cry because they are freezing. Many have not received winter clothes. Over the past 2 days, up to 35 millimeters of rain fell in the Gaza Strip. This seems to be normal weather for the region, which is typical between November and March. But because of the hostilities and the humanitarian crisis, the enclave has been in chaos. The rainfall has further exacerbated health problems. There are not enough hospital beds or simple medicines. There is not enough food. Queensland, Australia.
Wow, the house is pretty fucked. It looks like the door is going to cave in.
The most dangerous storm Jasper, December 14th, hit Australia. The state of Queensland was most severely affected. Trees were ripped out from the roots, the main highways were blocked, flights were delayed. Because of the hurricane, wind power lines were broken, more than 36,000 houses were left without power supply. It is noted that for 24 hours in the state fell more than 500 millimeters of precipitation. Streets are flooded, automobile traffic in some areas is still impossible. The situation in the region is unsafe. All residents are asked to stay off the streets and collect basic necessities. Residents whose homes have been destroyed have been taken to temporary accommodation centers. Australian officials have not yet provided accurate data on the number of dead and injured. Jasper is expected to move inland and gradually weaken. Our planet. Yesterday on the Sun was recorded a strong flare of intensity 10.2.8. This is the most powerful solar flare since the beginning of this year. Prior to this, in the leaders of solar prominences was a flare on February 17th, the intensity of which was x 2.2 points. The last time flares of this magnitude on the closest star to us were recorded back in 2017. This is likely one of the largest solar radio events ever recorded. Several units of the Central Weather Service have reported interference with radio communications with airplanes. Such active solar events are often a precursor to magnetic storms, the closest of which is expected this coming Saturday.